Spurrier's Gridiron Grill Studio. WRUF Gainesville. W251CG Gainesville. WRUF FM HD2. And on the WRUF radio app. This program is paid for by Weeby Marketing. The godfather of Gator Sports Talk Radio has returned.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
It's Sports Scene with Steve Russell. Time to eat some lunch and talk some Gator sports.
Sports Scene with Steve Russell is fueled by Southeast Car Agency and brought to you in part by Gator Trim Light, Campus USA Credit Union, Doreen Weeby Realtor, Fairlife Milk, Domino's Pizza, International Diamond Center, Meldon Law, Miapa Latin Cafe, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Quality Plumbing, Sensei Asian Bistro, Ruse Ogra State Farm, Titan MRI and Imaging, the UF Bookstore, Gala Bank, BND Electric, and the Head Beer Coach 1966 Lager.
Now, here's Steve Russell, right here on WRUF.
It is time to eat some lunch, talk some sports. Welcome into a Wednesday edition of Sports Scene. As you listen on WRUF, Charlie's going to produce the broadcast today. I want you, first of all, well, let me start with this. We're coming to you live from the Gator Trim Light Studio. How about that? We always do. We appreciate them and all of our sponsors. They've got you covered, full color systems, fully programmable right from your phone. They can light up your home orange and blue. They can do great things around a pool deck. Visit them today, GatorTrimLight.com. And Southeast Car Agency fuels our program. They're at 310 Northeast 39th Avenue in Gainesville. Hands down, the best in late model, low mileage vehicles. Go see them today. Tell them Sports Scene sent you. Softball. Right now, Auburn, who is the 14 seed, is playing 6 seed Texas A&M. Florida plays the winner of this game. And Auburn leads 7-3 in the third inning. Yeah. So who knows? Auburn could pull the upset here as the 14 seed. A reminder about tomorrow. Sports Scene comes to you later in the day. We don't know exactly when because of Gator softball. We're on the air at 10:40 in the morning tomorrow, and then however long the game lasts, and then Sports Scene comes to you afterward. We don't know the length of time either, but suffice to say, there will be a Sports Scene tomorrow. With all of our guests today, by the way, Blake Alderman will talk Gator football recruiting, which has really taken a big uptick. I mean, they are doing great. Brian Mahoney covers the NBA, primarily the New York teams for Associated Press. We'll talk the playoffs. And then Nick Belmonte will talk Gator baseball, SEC baseball as the regular season winds down to the final 2 weekends. With all that said, if you can do this for me today, I would appreciate it. And I want you to try to wrap your head around this. I want to talk college football a lot today. College football coaches, according to Yahoo Sports, are moving towards favoring a maximum playoff expansion. As many as 24 teams. Okay? The coaches voted, apparently, to increase the bracket to a maximum number of teams, do away with conference championship games, and end the season during the second week of January. That seems like a tall order, and it's a lot of change. But what do you think about that? That's what I want to do today. I think this is a great idea. In a way, I feel bad, no conference championship game. But let's face it, the SEC is a moneymaker, always has been. I don't know how much the other conferences games make, The Big Ten model that's being proposed, one automatic qualifier, one. The group of 6 champion, 23 at-large selections determined by the selection committee's college football playoff rankings. Well, if that happens, the SEC and the Big Ten most years will dominate that field. But that's an interesting thought process here. And then, if you do expand to 24, this is what happens. Another whole round of postseason action, 12 more games. Top 8 seeds would get an opening round bye, remaining 16 teams playing their first round contests on the higher seeds campus. They want to keep the Army-Navy game with no other game on while it is playing. They're going to protect that. Doesn't mean you can't have a game later in the day, but you would not have a game at the same time. One of the problems I see with this, what about the portal? How's that going to work? Remember last year we saw teams in the playoffs scrambling during the portal to do all those things at the same time? What will happen there? Next year's national title game won't be played until January 25th. January 25th. That's a hell of a long season. And it's 10 days after playing in the semis. Now, the good news is both teams have the same layoff, but that's a long time, too. Some of the coaches would like to see the season end on January 1st. I don't know that that's ever going to happen. They would have to radically change the process. But what do you think of that? What, as a college football fan, what are your thoughts about that just as you see this? Also, CBSSports.com has updated its CFP projections and bowl pairings. Yeah, already, right? So here we go. They have them all. They have them all. Kentucky would be in the Cure Bowl. Okay. I'm going down the list here. I'm looking for SEC. Auburn would be in the Gasparilla Bowl. South Carolina would be in the Texas Bowl. Vanderbilt would be in the Birmingham Bowl. Florida in Liberty Bowl against Oklahoma State. Missouri in the Music City Bowl. Tennessee, Las Vegas Bowl. Oklahoma, Gator Bowl. Texas A&M, ReliaQuest Bowl. Citrus Bowl. Alabama. If that happens, he'll be fired. So there you go. And then the playoff teams, obviously, also are there. And there's some SEC teams that are in that. You can kind of figure out, who those teams might be. We haven't mentioned Georgia. We haven't mentioned Texas. So there you go. LSU is in there. Ole Miss is in there. And the other team they have projected in there that's interesting? UNLV. Dan Mullen. Yeah. So, Miami is in there. Notre Dame is in there. There you are. So, I hope you will talk about that. Gator baseball last night taking care of business. Beat UNF. Although, look, here's a perfect example of where our sport is. Look, when you walk on a field, you want to win a game. But UNF threw no one last night. They threw pitchers that had like 3 appearances. They don't care if they win that game. They have to win their league. And they're 17-7 in their league. If they win the league, they get a bid. You're not going to get an at-large bid if you're them. So, but good for Florida, because by God, had Florida lost last night, this would have been, instead of no phone calls, we'd have had a lot of them. All right. With that, Charlie will take care of us today, as he always does when he produces. If you have a text you want to get in, 352-325-3777. Our text line brought to you by B&D Electric, professional, reliable electrical service you can trust. Any Facebook Live questions, Ruse Ogra takes care of those. Your go-to agent in Gainesville, your State Farm agent in Gainesville and North Central Florida. YouTube questions, courtesy of Campus USA Credit Union, where one Stephen Orr Spurrier does his banking. Founded on the UF campus, serving our community for 90 years. Our emails, courtesy of International Diamond Center. Of course, that's srussell@wruf.com. They are the official jeweler of the Florida Gators. All of our calls coming to you on the Titan MRI and Imaging phone line. Call them for the best MRI and affordable prices. Find out more, TitanMRI.com. Our first hour brought to you by our good friends at Quality Plumbing. When you need a quality plumber, rely on the same company Gainesville's trusted since 1984. It's over 40 years, ladies and gentlemen. Quality Plumbing, their name says it all. And don't forget, all of our guests come to you courtesy of Meldon Law, serving Gator Nation since 1971, the only injury law firm partner of the Florida Gators. We can talk NBA playoffs a little bit if you want to. International Diamond Center email Daryl. Do you think when Christian Rodriguez comes in to pitch, his issues are mechanical? I was really rooting for him last night because, he went to the Cape and was great. But it just, I didn't see anything egregiously mechanical with him, but he didn't throw strikes. That's been his issue, Daryl. Mike, horrible idea to do away with an SEC championship. Why protect Army, Navy? Why not Air Force, Army, or Air Force, Navy? Because Army, Navy, Mike, has had the tradition of that, and Air Force has not. I'm not saying that's right, but that's Army, Navy's been like that since I was a child. Air Force, Army isn't. Just how that is. And again, these are, at this point, proposals, not in stone yet, but we will see. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and then Gator football recruiting has really taken off. Blake Alderman will talk to us about that next. You're listening to Sports Scene, coming to you live from the Gator Trim Light Studio, fueled by Southeast Car Agency on WRUF. Hey, it's Steve Russell for Southeast Car Agency in Gainesville, 310 Northeast 39th Avenue. Friends, they've been in business for 45-plus years, and the Cousins family has done just one thing, but, man, they've done it right. They give you the best alternative you have to purchasing a new vehicle, the best in late-model, low-mileage vehicles. I'm driving one right now, have been for a very long time. They've treated me right. They'll do the same thing for you. Go see them today, Southeast Car Agency in Gainesville.
Everyone knows Gator Trim Light is the go-to for patented permanent holiday lighting. But did you know they do so much more? From pool enclosures and businesses to decks and landscape lighting, they've got you covered. Full color systems, fully programmable, right from your smartphone. Invisible by day, stunning by night. Show off your orange and blue home or landscape with GatorTrimLight.com. That's GatorTrimLight.com. GatorTrimLight.com.
Nobody does catering like P.F. Chang's. Elevate your gathering with our buffet-style catering pans. Packed with bold flavors and generous portions of your favorite dishes, we make it easy to serve and even easier to enjoy. From chopsticks to dessert, everything's ready for pickup or delivered right to your door. Choose individual meals, customizable catering packages, or build your own perfect feast. P.F. Chang's Catering. Your feast perfected. Order now at pfchangs.com/catering.
It's lunchtime and nobody does lunch like Pomodoro Cafe. From Italian dishes to subs and salads, and favorites like their Philly sub with fries, thinly sliced beef cooked to perfection and topped with peppers, onions and mushrooms, and provolone cheese on a baguette.
This is Steve Russell sharing with you one of my favorite lunch spots, Pomodoro Cafe, located in the Spring Hill Publix complex on 39th Avenue near I-75. Enjoy Pomodoro Cafe today.
And don't forget, they cater online at pomodorocafe.com.
Hey, have you ever talked to Ruse Agra over at State Farm?
Oh yeah, Ruse is awesome. Helped me get a ton of coverage for way less than I expected, and he serves all of North Florida. Super friendly too, actually takes time to explain everything.
Really? I thought State Farm would be pricey.
No, surprisingly great rates. You get that neighborly service you don't find everywhere. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I might give Ruse at State Farm a call.
You should. Call 352-240-1779 for a free quote. You'll be glad you did.
Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Hey, Gator baseball fans, here's a win you can taste. When the Florida Gators take home a victory at Condren Family Ballpark, you win too at Miapa Latin Cafe. The day after every home win, swing by and score a free Cuban coffee, hot or iced, your choice. Just bring your game ticket to any Miapa location and claim your reward within 24 hours of the win. It's that simple. Gators win, you win. Only at Miapa Latin Cafe, serving Gator fans for over 20 years. Play ball!
Hey Gainesville, tired of big banks that don't know your name? Meet Galabank. Locally owned, locally operated. With over 350 years of combined experience, we're here to help our neighbors, not just customers. No call centers, no appointments necessary, no sign-in sheets, and anyone can cash a check on us. No extra charge. Local bank, local people. Galabank. Find us at 7515 West University Avenue off Tower Road. Galabank. Member FDIC.
Connecting with WRUF at Sports Scene just got easier. Call, email, watch on YouTube or Facebook Live. And now text us on the B&D Electric text line at 352-325-3777. That's 352-325-3777. Gator baseball fans, don't miss On Deck with Steve Russell and Jeff Cardoso live every Monday at 1 on WRUF. Get baseball and softball breakdowns, player analysis, and SEC previews. Listen live or anytime on the WRUF app, YouTube or Facebook. On Deck, it's a hit.
Your only home for Gator baseball is WRUF 98.1 FM, 850 AM. Your home for Gator Sports.
Don't know if you heard, Ted Turner passed away at the age of 87. You know, he created TBS, CNN, owned the Braves, owned the Hawks. Jane Fonda, right? 87 years old. All right. Let's bring in one of our grads, Blake Alderman. Blake does a great job recruiting insider for Gators Online. And, boy, Florida has really done really well here lately. I'm going to talk to Blake about this. Blake, welcome. Always good to have you. Florida's on a pretty good roll here. What's going on?
Yeah, it's the classic recruiting heater. Usually we see these in summertime when it's official visit season, but John Summerall is getting things rolling a little early. The spring – earlier this spring in April, you add 5-star Maxwell Hiller, you add 4-star quarterback Davin Davidson, you get 4-star cornerback Amari Fountain to flip from South Carolina. They just went on an absolute roll of commitments, and that has not slowed down in the slightest here in the spring, and certainly in May, and certainly not this week. Florida's already added top 100 offensive tackle Elijah Hutchinson out of Virginia. They landed 3-star defensive lineman Steve Bentley Kimaju earlier this morning out of Coral Gables. And then yesterday they added 4-star safety Caleb Dillard out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, out of Jenks High School. So it's been a roll for Florida, and they've got a couple more announcements that are taking place this week. So it could be a really big week for Florida and kind of some momentum going into official visits, which start later this month.
Blake, have you noticed any change in the way this staff recruits versus Billy Napier in terms of style or where they're recruiting or positionally? Have you noticed any changes?
I think there's some minor ones. I think that where Billy Napier and his staff, and I think it was more of maybe top-heavy kind of like Billy Napier's style in general, is to maybe take more of a methodical approach, really take your time to do the eval, go from watching film as like your scouting department, passing that up to position coach, then to coordinator, and then obviously to head coach who gives the final signal. I think that it's a lot more different with Summerall. I think he moves a lot quicker, and I think we sort of saw the early stages of that during the portal window in December, to where Florida was just, they're bringing guys in, they're getting these things done, they're targeting guys. It's not maybe you have to move quicker, obviously, with the portal, but that even if it takes you a couple hours or a day to eval a guy, it just seems like more of like, let's offer, we'll figure it out later as we go. It just seems like the pace is a lot quicker. And, I think you could see that with Summerall from just, the word of practice even. Like, you may have a shorter window of how long you're practicing, but you're moving quicker, you're getting a lot of things done. And I think whenever you hear Summerall talk, it's pretty easy to get the vibe that he's a guy that goes a million miles an hour. So yeah. I think that's maybe the most glaring thing to me. But I also feel like in this world of recruiting, obviously games are won and lost in the trenches. And I think that, and I don't know if that's maybe, more of a head coach with Summerall's opinion of how he views the trenches, or if it's just a simple fact of Phil Troutwine, Florida's offensive line coach, being a really good recruiter. But you're seeing the attention to the trenches. And those are going to cost you more in NIL. Those are the positions that, if you break them down, that typically fetch a higher price. But you're seeing that be more of a focus, and they're really putting a lot of attention into getting these top-rated type of offensive linemen and these guys on the defensive line, just really kind of building your team and maybe your culture of how you view your roster from that line of scrimmage, and then obviously paying attention to other positions too. But I have noticed that Summerall has been more attentive to the line of scrimmage.
Blake, do you have any way of knowing, and I'm not sure anybody really does, but I'll ask, with what we have now, with the money that's out there, is Florida competitive now in terms of, the money aspect in getting recruits here?
I think so. It is hard to say just because, you don't know. I mean, what Florida's war chest is, how much is that filled? How much are they going to allocate to that? And then I don't know that same answer to what it would be for other schools. But from what I've seen, I don't think you're getting a guy like a Maxwell Hiller, Florida's 5-star offensive line commit. He's the number 3 overall prospect in the rankings at Rivals. He's the number 1 interior offensive line, but he could also play some tackle as well. Like, I don't think you're getting those types of guys if you're not competitive in the NIL space, just because, like I said, offensive linemen are going to fetch that higher price. And for Florida, regardless if Hiller did have those past connections to Phil Troutwine from Pennsylvania, where Hiller's from, and from Troutwine coaching at Penn State, you could know a guy since he's in 8th grade, 9th grade, whatever. Eventually those NIL talks are going to take place. They're going to ramp up, and they're going to become more of a focus. And I just don't see Florida getting one of those high-level type of guys like that and be in play for guys like 5-star wide receiver Easton Royal, 5-star defensive lineman Jalen Brewster, who's committed to Texas Tech. I don't think you're getting those guys on campus. You're not having those guys on the line if you're not competitive in the NIL space.
For those who may not know, Blake, you mentioned some positions that are commanding more money. I mean, quarterback, obviously. What are some of the other positions that are commanding more of the dollars?
I'd say more broadly, it's obviously quarterback, offensive line. I think more specifically on the offensive line, I think tackles, even though you can, guards. I mean, offensive line trenches make the world go around. And the same thing for defensive line. But I also think that, sure, those interior nose types, 3 technique types on that interior part of the defensive line, they're going to be a big price. But I think in some instances, those edge guys, those stand-up edge guys are going to be ones that basically, if you're the quarterback, you're going to get a big bag. If you're protecting the quarterback, you're going to get a big bag. And if you're one of those guys that goes and gets the quarterback, those are the ones too. But I do think there are some instances where you may have a highly ranked guy at any other type of position. There's exceptions to the rules, but I think that those are generally more of the heavy focus types.
Blake, in terms of numbers, where Florida is, how set are they?
In terms of commitments or?
Yes.
Right now, they're sitting with 13 commitments. And it's been a wild ride. And like I said, a 4-star running back, Andrew Beard, is set to commit later this week on Friday at 4 p.m., and that's a guy that I think Florida's in a really good spot for. That's kind of where I'm at this week. And then, obviously, official visit season started up. And, I mean, these guys have popped up with decision dates and changing timelines, so it's hard to say if nothing will pop up in the near future. But I think Florida right now, their class is ranked 6th nationally on Rivals rankings. They've added commitment after commitment in the last couple of weeks. So I think that it's nice to see this type of momentum going into the official visit season, because that's where, again, things ramp up again. These guys take visits, they talk NIL, they see schools in depth, spend a couple of days there, and decisions start to ramp up then. And that'll go all the way through the official visit season and then into July, when it goes into a dead period where there's no visits on campus. But that's when in July where a lot of these guys start to set these commitment dates. They start to get this decision out of the way so they can, be done with all the craziness and go into their senior season more stress-free. So I do think that it's nice to see this run of commitments for Florida, because it's going into what's going to be another big wave of guys deciding and visiting as we go through the summer.
Final thing, Blake. I get the sense, you were here as a student, you now work and do what you do. I get the sense that Gator fans are very pleased with what's happened here in terms of the hiring of Summerall as the coach and then what he and his staff have done to this point. I sense optimism within the fan base. Do you share that?
I do. And I think that that's somewhat of a given when you hire a new coach. It's always the honeymoon stage where, everything's great at the start. But I also feel like Florida fans have wanted many things. Steve, I'm sure you had plenty of callers, and I've seen many people post on the internet and say all this, that, and the other. They've wanted explosive offenses. I think that's what you got when you hired Buster Faulkner. They've wanted high-level recruiting on the offensive line and obviously development, too. You go out and get the guy that Florida should have hired 10 years ago in Phil Troutwine. And obviously his name is a lot bigger than it was 10 years ago, but this is the guy that Florida fans have wanted. Every time that there's an opening on the offensive line and you see the hot boards and all this, Florida's potential next offensive line coach, if Phil Troutwine wasn't on it, it was someone that Florida fans were like, please hire Phil Troutwine. And you see what he's done with these first-round draft picks and these developmental guys, and he recruits at a high level. I just feel like what Summerall has done, I feel like he's got it figured out, and the energy's there and the charisma's there and the, let's go get it. And I feel like there's some shades of Urban Meyer in that. I don't like comparing people and, he's the next so-and-so, but there are comparisons in the way that I see that how they move and how they think and just kind of their attitude. But this guy's also kind of done what Florida fans have wanted. They've wanted the high-level explosive offenses. That's what, like I said, Faulkner's done. And you've got someone that's going to really pay attention and develop and recruit these high-level guys on the offensive line. So I feel like it's like almost like he's catered to what Florida fans have been screaming for as long as I've done this job. And I think that sort of helped him along the way. And obviously, if you win these games, you're just going to win the fan base over even more.
As always, where can people see your work?
Yeah, Gators Online. It's the Florida Gators On3 website. And right now we're running a $1 promo. Check us out for a couple days. See if it's like a free trial. See if you like it. And it's a busy time with commitment season. And obviously official visits are coming up. So it's not going to slow down on this end.
Blake, always appreciate you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me on.
You got it, Blake. Again, one of our grads. Glad to have him, and he's done well. Blake Alderman with Gators Online. Last night in SEC baseball, wanted to report that an SEC team that was ranked lost to an in-state team. Alabama lost at Troy last night, 6-1. So again, and you know who else won last night? LSU. They beat Tulane 13-6. LSU is starting. They swept South Carolina. Now again, South Carolina not real good. But they play at Georgia this week, and they need wins. And if you're a Florida fan, I'd be rooting like crazy for Georgia. Here's why. If Georgia beats LSU 2 out of 3 or sweeps them, then LSU is not going to be in a regional. They're not. So what are they going to do? Their only hope of going to a regional is to win the SEC tournament. So their job then, from a pitching standpoint, is to line up their pitching for the SEC tournament. They won't care about winning those games against Florida. That could certainly help Florida in its quest to be a regional host. So we'll see what happens. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll open the phone lines for you as you're listening to Sports Scene on WRUF.
This is former Gator quarterback Shane Matthews, and you're listening to the home of Gator Sports, WRUF, 98.1 FM, 850 AM, and 103.7 HD2.
It's never fun being injured. And with summer on the way, the last thing you want is lingering pain holding you back. Good news. You don't have to deal with long waits or high costs at Titan MRI and Imaging. At Titan MRI and Imaging, you're not just another patient. You're treated with care in a comfortable, personal setting. With 2 locations in Gainesville and 1 in Lake City. Being pain-free is a short drive away, and they accept insurance. So don't sit out this summer. Get the scan you need and get back to enjoying it. Visit TitanMRI.com to learn more.
International Diamond Center's values are so compelling, it's not unusual to see people here that are not local.
Every day, we have people that drive an hour and a half, even 2 hours.
IDC owner Keith LeClaire.
People are willing to drive because they've heard it's not a typical jewelry store.
For example, did you know IDC has one of the largest selections of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in America?
You're going to want to come to IDC. It's worth the drive.
International Diamond Center in Celebration Point and online at shopidc.com.
Every great team is built on a solid game plan, sharp execution, and total trust in the crew beside you. At Quality Plumbing, we bring that same championship mindset to every job we do. For over 40 years, we've been the starting lineup for homes and businesses across North Central Florida, delivering reliable service, expert craftsmanship, and big wins for our customers. Call us today or visit qualityplumbing.com. We're your first string team. License number CFC 043073.
By now you've heard about the Florida Legends Experience in Gila, featuring Gator Heisman greats Tim Tebow, Danny Werfel, and Steve Spurrier all in one place at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Imagine catching a pass or taking a handoff from a Heisman winner, all while supporting Isaiah 117 to help provide safe, loving homes for children in need. Then enjoy an unforgettable evening at the Gala, filled with great food and lasting memories. Don't miss this historic event. Find out how you and your business can get involved at FLLegends.com. That's FLLegends.com.
Thursdays just got a whole lot better. At Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, it's prime rib night, and it's everything you've been craving. We're talking slow-roasted, perfectly seasoned USDA prime rib, carved just the way you like it, served with a jumbo loaded baked potato and all the classic fixins. Simple, legendary, done right. This isn't just dinner, it's a weekly tradition. And hey, you asked, the head ball coach delivered. Join us every Thursday for premium prime rib night at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Come hungry, leave legendary.
There are plenty of realtors in town, but few work as hard, respond as quickly, or care as deeply as Doreen Wiebe of Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Community-driven and client-focused, Doreen will work with you to ensure your satisfaction. Whether you're buying or selling, she brings persistence, preparation, and heart to every deal. With Doreen, you're not just another transaction. You're a priority. Call 352-562-1411. That's 352-562-1411.
It's game day. Lights on, fans ready, everything running like it should. Now imagine your home performing at that same level. No flickering lights, no tripping breakers, no last-minute surprises. With B&D Electric, your home's electrical system is always game day ready. From repairs and lighting to panel upgrades and troubleshooting, they deliver reliable service you can count on every time. Don't sit on the sidelines. Schedule your service today at www.bdelectric.com. That's bdelectric.com.
Gainesville's best-kept secret is finally being revealed. Introducing Sensei Asian Bistro. Located in Celebration Point next to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Sensei delivers a one-of-a-kind Japanese-French fusion experience that's as refined as it is unforgettable. Indulge in signature dishes like our smoked New York strip, Chilean sea bass, matcha curry, or the crave-worthy chunggang chili chicken. Pair it all with handcrafted cocktails, fresh crudo oysters, or our premium A5 Wagyu tataki. Sensei Asian Bistro. Make your reservation today.
The Tailgate with Jeff Cardozo and Zach Almoverdi. Weekdays at 4, right here on WRUF.
Don't forget, tomorrow, Florida's quarterfinal softball game in the SEC tournament is going to be in the morning, early in the morning. Our coverage starts at 10:40 tomorrow. They're going to play the winner of the game that's playing right now, Auburn and Texas A&M. And Auburn, the 14 seed, is whipping Texas A&M 8-3. That game is in the 5th inning. Let's go to our Titan MRI and Imaging phone line. Byron's there. Hi, Byron.
Hey, Steve. Steve, stop me. I'm going to keep going till the end, but if you want to talk, because you probably agree with me, but if you don't, you're probably right. But here I go, Steve. Baseball, Steve, I think it's going to boil down to which team got the best, weekend lineup. 3, pitchers and probably a bullpen. Everybody seemed to be hitting about the same in slumps and whatever, but I'm sure some teams are hitting better than others, and some teams are still hitting better than others. But, and you mentioned LSU. Steve, I got a good feeling about this when coming up, and that's just me. But I don't never like to go to that darn Baton Rouge or wherever that is. It's just a weird place for my, interpretation. So I'm worried about there. And want to shout out to McDonald. Steve, I was a Cags Langford fan, and I'm going to go ahead and put this guy on that pedestal, man, pitching and hitting the way he's doing it, man. A great week, and shout out to him. And next, Steve, the football stuff. I agree with everything your guest said, Steve. Steve, I think coaching can make a difference with players. They had something called teutonizing, I think I'm remembering this right. But this guy was a coach back in the day, Steve, and I think you remember. And he made a difference, man. Weights and training, it can give you an edge in certain games go to fourth quarters. So I just shout out to those guys, Steve. And I'm going to go NBA. Steve, I think the Knicks going to get in there. And somebody say they might beat the Oklahoma Thunder in the playoffs. But I'm going to leave it at that, Steve. In baseball, again, Steve, the reason the Phillies, because Clearwater, they train there. My Phillies, my Rays doing it up. And hope your Mets getting it there, man. Go Gators!
Byron, thank you. DJ, welcome to the show.
Hi, Steve. How are we doing today?
Good,
Thank you
sir.
for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I love the show. Listen all the time. It's a great show. I called in a couple of days ago. I had a question about the offensive line, and I didn't really get a chance to address that. I was going to make a quick joke with a Star Wars movie reference. May the 4th be with you.
Okay.
Anyway, so my question today is about Steve Summerall and his approach to coaching. I think it's a very important topic. I just had a quick question. So one of the problems that has plagued the Florida Gators football program for a very long time is discipline. How do you think Coach Summerall is going to approach that as far as eliminating unnecessary penalties and addressing discipline on our roster that will help return the team to an elite level of competition so that we can be always in the conversation of the playoffs, or at least get there? How do you think Coach Summerall will address that?
I'm glad you qualified that, DJ, because when you said discipline, I thought at first you meant like off-the-field stuff, and under Napier, Florida had next to nothing with that. There was never an issue with players getting in trouble. But then when you qualified
unnecessary penalties and things like that
when you qualified it, I mean, look, I would hope that they're going to make that a point of emphasis. I think they know, what happened here previously. But I also think this. If I have a way of doing things, you're hiring me because of that. And I'm sure, and look, we all know because of history, right, that you can hire a coach who thinks he's going to do a great job and they don't. It happens.
It doesn't always work out.
No, it doesn't. But I do believe I think they'll be a tougher football team because of what they're going to do in the weight room. And because of that,
great optimism for Coach Summerall.
And because of that, I think you will see a team that is mentally tougher as well, because they're going to be physically tougher.
Yes, but I think that's the number one area of emphasis this season is in order to get our team, our program, turned around to an elite level program. Like just as a quick reference, using Alabama as an example, because they're probably the closest thing towards playing at a college level. Probably the closest thing towards getting ready for the next level in the NFL is Alabama. The number one thing that you can count on every single year, they're going to be in the playoff conversation because they play clean football. They have good offensive line and good quarterback play, and they don't commit unnecessary penalties. Now, getting the officials to call a fair game, that's questionable. I don't think that Alabama any other team that's playing Alabama in Alabama, I don't think the officiating crew does a good enough job as far as calling a fair game, and I think that needs to be investigated. But as far as
whoa.
Okay.
Where is your evidence of that statement?
Well, I think that anytime you listen to an Alabama game on the radio or watch it on TV, I think that anytime there's a penalty called, it's always in favor of Alabama.
No, it's not. That's just not true. And if you look at Alabama statistically last year, DJ, they couldn't run the ball a lick. Couldn't run it a lick.
They're under a different regime. I agree with that. But I guess my concern is that, or the comparison was that Alabama, under Nick Saban, they had such an elite level of coaching, and a lot of it had to do with getting the offensive line and the quarterback play top tier. But I think when it comes to unnecessary penalties, we absolutely have to eliminate unnecessary penalties with that discipline on the field in order to get back in the conversation of top-tier competition and getting ready to compete for the playoffs. Does that make sense?
It does. I appreciate your call, DJ. Thank you for your call. I had to call that. I mean, there's no – and I'm interested in this. Since he brought this up, I'm going to bring this out of the blue, okay? As a fan of a team, when you see an official, an umpire, whatever it is, make a bad call, I get it, right? But let me ask this. Do you think officials, umpires do a good job? I want you to respond to that because I think they do. Do they screw up sometimes? Yes. Are they perfect? No. But there is zero evidence that umpire X, official Y, has a bias against another school. I mean, you can say, didn't have a good day. Okay. And that's why, going back to what we talked about yesterday, with the experimentation at the SEC tournament about, challenging balls and strikes, I think it's wonderful. But there is a part of me that wishes that had never happened. Because it takes more and more of the human element out of it. I mean, what do we suppose? What about a hitter? When I'm long dead, are there going to be like machines that go up there and hit instead of a human? I mean, where does it? You see where I'm going? Where does it end? And I get it with all the money involved with betting today, whether you like betting or not. Calls, need to be right. I get it. But anyway, we'll see. I had a feeling it was going to be like this today. Anybody want to talk about the NBA playoffs or Major League Baseball or the hockey playoffs or even, I have not heard anybody talk about the playoff expansion that's being proposed by college coaches. I hope we can do that. Let us get to International Diamond Center email here. William, he's listening in Kansas. Okay. Is Dorothy there? Kidding. William says, love the show. Listen when I can. I've been listening from afar, and I just don't understand all the venom thrown at Kevin O'Sullivan. Do you think it's fair? Well, first of all, I don't know that it's venom. I think it's frustration. And I think the expectation, just like for Tim Walton, just like for, Todd Golden, I'm telling you how this works. If Todd Golden next year gets knocked out in the first round, and the next year gets knocked out in the first round, there'll be people calling for him to be fired. That's just how that rolls, right? And I think as a coach, you know that going in. Does it make sense? No. It's really hard to get to the NCAA tournament. But I just think that's part of what the gig is. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Hopefully, Well, by the way, Auburn 8-3 over A&M. They're in the bottom of the fifth. A&M is batting. You're listening to Sports Scene, coming to you live from the Gator Trim Light Studio, fueled by Southeast Car Agency on WRUF.
When the late, great Charlie Daniels would need a place for jewelry he could trust, he turned to International Gold, Diamond, and Watch Exchange.
Hi, I'm Charlie Daniels, and I live in Tennessee, but when I get ready to do something serious about jewelry or a gift for my wife or somebody, I always get in touch with the folks at International Gold and Diamond Exchange here in Gainesville. There's a lot of reasons for that. One reason is they sell nothing but the best.
Find out what Charlie was talking about for yourself at International Gold, Diamond, and Watch Exchange at 3440 West University Avenue and online at igdwex.com.
Gator Nation, did you know the UF bookstore, located right inside the University of Florida's Rights Union, is more than just textbooks? That's right. Gear up with officially licensed Gator merchandise from top brands like Nike, Peter Lamar, Lululemon, Columbia, Tommy Bahama, Apple, and more. From game day to every day, we've got the styles Gators love. Stop by the Florida bookstore at Rights Union. The Florida bookstore, where Gators shop.
Go Gators!
After you work out, you can feel worn out. Reach for core power and rise to a whole new level of recovery. Protein to build muscle. Electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to power on. Champion your recovery with Core Power.
We all know the most exciting thing that can happen during a baseball game is a grand slam. Leave it to Davis Gainesville Chevrolet GMC and the Florida Gators to make it even more exciting. This year, at any SEC home game here in Gainesville, if the baseball or softball team hits a grand slam in the fourth inning, someone will win a 2-year lease on a brand new 2026 Chevy Trax. It's happened before. Will you be the next to win? Davis Gainesville Chevrolet and the Florida Gators. Now that's a hit.
Are you ready to raise your game when it comes to your Gators gear? Head over to Alma Mater in Gainesville. You'll find just what you need to rep your team in style. From one-of-a-kind Gator tees and hats to NIL gear, they've got the perfect Gator swag for every fan in all kinds of weather. Whether it's game day or any day, you'll be winning with officially licensed apparel found nowhere else. Locally owned, locally produced. Alma Mater, in-store at the corner of 34th and University or online at almamaterdesign.com.
Concrete is tough, long-lasting, durable, and when it's done right, it's the foundation of everything that stands strong. At Silverback Concrete, we don't just pour concrete, we build trust one slab at a time. We're a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists who sweat every detail, from footers to elevated decks. We respect your budget, we build to last, and we care about the people on the job today and those who will walk these floors tomorrow. You stand on it, we stand by it. Silverback Concrete, we've got your back. Visit silverbackconcrete.co to get started.
For more than 50 years of quality service, Archer Electric Service Company has been Gainesville's choice for residential and commercial electrical work. Whether you need wiring, repairs, or backup generator installation, we treat every client like family with professional, clean, dependable service. Don't wait for the storm or the flicker to remind you. Visit ArcherElectricService.com today for a free consultation and see why we've been Gainesville and the surrounding area's most trusted electricians for decades.
Sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference between a minor sprain and a significant issue. The team at UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine provide expert orthopedic care with locations in Gainesville and Ocala for everything from walk-in treatments to specialized surgeries and complex cases. Choose the providers who care for Team USA. Visit ufhealth.org/orthoexperts to learn more. Proud provider for the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Medical Network.
Overheard at the Hard Rock Bet Party.
Meta World Peace, what's up, man?
Nah, that's not my name anymore, thanks to Hard Rock Bet.
We're doing this again, are we?
Now I go by Meta, over rebounds, under assists, method of first basket, free throw, Peace.
Huh, so you really can same-game parlay practically anything now on Hard Rock Bet.
It's the only place I play these days.
Download the Hard Rock Bet app and start playing today. Hard Rock Bet, roll with us.
Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida, must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
From the UF Weather Center, here is your WRUF weather update.
Near record highs possible today. Temperatures in the lower to mid-90s. Heat index values in the mid-90s. A mix of sun and clouds. Light breeze from the west, occasionally gusting to 15 miles an hour. Partly cloudy and warm for us tonight. Low temperatures tomorrow morning in the mid to upper 60s. We repeat the pattern in the afternoon tomorrow again with high temperatures in the lower 90s. From the WUFT Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Megan Borowski.
If it happens in Gator Nation, you hear it on WRUF 98.1 FM, 850 AM, and 103.7 HD2.
On a slow day in sports today. Stanley Cup playoffs, though, continue, and you're going to hear them here on WRUF. Game 2, Anaheim and the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas up 1-0. Coverage begins tomorrow night at 9. Your home for the Stanley Cup final is right here. And again, don't forget, tomorrow, Gator softball team, 10:40 is our airtime. They'll play the winner of the game being played now, Texas A&M and Auburn. A&M just hit a homer. It is now 8-5 Auburn. A&M bats in the bottom half of the 5th inning. So there you go. All right, let's hear from you. By the way, many thanks to Quality Plumbing for sponsoring us here in the first hour, and all of our guests come to you courtesy of Meldon Law, the only injury law firm partner of the Florida Gators. And don't forget, check out our daily clip of the day on WRUF, Facebook, and YouTube at WRUF Home of the Gators, brought to you by our friends at Fairlife Milk. International Diamond Center email, Dustin, Jenny Rowland picked up commitment out of the portal, just keeps going, things looking up positive. Yeah, they did. Look, like I said, when they didn't win the thing and people were calling for her to be let go, that is some of the stupidest things I've ever read online. And that's not going to happen either. So there you are. Bob emails, and I'm getting this a lot. Will Billy Donovan coach the Magic? I can tell you this. He's not the only guy they're going to talk to. And I'll tell you a guy who, in my opinion, is a serious candidate. And that's my Knicks guy, Tibbs. If they don't interview him, I think they're crazy. And I'm not saying he's better than Billy. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, if you're going to do your due diligence, unless you know you want Billy Donovan or you want Coach X, then you do your due diligence, and he'd be a candidate I would talk to. All right. Facebook Live questions brought to you by Ruse-Ogre State Farm. Ken, think the expansion of March Madness is just plain and downright silly. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. Ken, I would just say this. If you like it where it is, right, how did it get there? It got there through expansion. And it wasn't broke then. With college sports gravitating more and more towards financial focus, the NCAA will never say no to another cash grab. Well, I'm with you there. To say that that's not part of this, Ken, I'm with you there. This is the moneymaker for the NCAA. This is what they have left to make money. Scott, not exactly stellar pitching by UNF, but we'll take the win. Hopefully that game will be a springboard for the rest of the season and the postseason. YouTube questions, courtesy of Campus USA Credit Union. Ryan, I'm all for more games. Love the NCAA tournament. This is seriously getting ridiculous. We've already lost the plot with Feast Week, now becoming NIL-centered with the Players Era tournament. Now March Madness becoming more and more about broadcast rights than tournament quality. Do you really think, Ryan, the expansion from what it is to that is going to ruin the quality of the tournament? I'm not so sure. Swamp Owl says, love the show. Any thoughts on the Spikes Under the Lights volleyball thing? Yes, I mentioned that yesterday. Love it. Love it. Great idea. And I think you're going to see more of this type of thing, Swamp Owl. Largest prize pool in women's college sports all time is stunning. Sport just seems to keep growing more and more. He's talking about volleyball, and it's going to be at Jerry World, and Florida is one of the 4 teams invited to this. So, yeah, I think this is terrific. It's really good. Let's go to our Titan MRI Imaging phone line. GW, hello.
What's up, Steve?
Hey.
Hey, all right, so real quick on Gator baseball. I think this season has been, kind of interesting, and I had a thought that I was talking to, we have season tickets and go to a lot of the games, and I was talking to one of the other guys that I sit with, and I was thinking, our starting pitching has been, if I'm not mistaken, kind of top of the SEC, maybe even, top 10 in the country, probably, ERA-wise.
Strength of the team.
Our 3 primary guys.
Yep.
And then, we've lost a lot of games at the end of the games, giving up a lot of runs, and that's happened quite a few times. But I was thinking, it's not so much that the relievers are getting shelled. And a lot of times it's there's a lot of errors defensively that are leading to a lot of these games getting away from us. And so anyway, along that line, I was thinking, maybe it's more like the starters are not really letting the opponents put the ball in play that much. And so they're kind of covering up maybe what might be not the greatest defensive team we've ever had. And the relievers kind of do let the hitters put the ball in play more. And then that's where we're seeing a lot more of these defensive errors. I just want to get your thought on that.
There's a lot there. This much I will say. The obvious strength of this team is pitching. Their team ERA is less than 4. That's pretty good, especially in this day and age. And when the 3 guys, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, are right, Florida has a really good chance to win games. Now, you've got a situation where Reitner's been good, but not great. He's a young pitcher, right? I also think that when they get a couple of guys back hurt, they're going to pitch. It's going to lengthen the pitching out. That will help as well. So I do think Florida's pitching is going to continue to be the strength of the team. It's only going to get – remember, last weekend they didn't have McNeely at all. He had a tired arm. So if all these guys come back healthy, that's going to be a really deep pitching staff. That's going to keep them in a lot of games.
Well, let me ask you this really quick as a follow-up.
Sure.
Is it just me, anecdotally looking at it, or does this team have more errors than the last few years? I mean, I feel like we've lost several games. We had the one game with the 4 errors that led to 5 runs, and we lost that one at the end. And I mean, I don't have the data in front of me. It's kind of hard to look up, frankly.
Well, I can tell you, this is not a stellar Florida defensive team. Not even close. It's probably a below average defensive team. When Sully's had good defensive teams, they fielded 980, 981, even higher. I believe last night before the start of the game, I think they were 969, something like that. Okay. It's not been as good.
Yeah, because I had no idea where to look. I've tried everywhere to look. It's so hard to find college baseball stats. It's a challenge. And then also really quick on I feel like I wish the bats would just, if everyone does, come alive just because the pitching has been so great. If we could just score 4, 5, 6 runs a game, I feel like we could win a lot of these games. And any thoughts on what's going on with, maybe this just isn't a stellar hitting team, and I'll take it off there.
Okay, thank you. Florida's fielding percentage is now 971. It went up because of last night. They hit 268 as a team. The opponents hit 235. And yet, Florida has struggled. Why? Well, some unearned runs, right, because they're not fielding great. And this is not a vintage hitting team either. Serwick has proven to be a good pickup. He's batting over 300. Curlin's had probably a disappointing year, but a lot of that has to do with a lot of his injuries. Lawson's really struggling now. And, they just don't have a bopper. They don't have Cags. But, look, you don't get that every year. You just don't. Those guys don't get plucked off the tree. So this, again, is an average hitting team, an average fielding team, and above average pitching team. The good news here is I think Florida's capable of getting hot. I think it's there. But can they, when it matters in the postseason? And if they can get hot down the stretch here, remember, they're facing two teams in the league in Kentucky and LSU that are not at the top of the league. So if you can take 4 of these, right, go 4-2 in the league, you have a shot of being a host. A shot. We'll see. And then there's the SEC tournament. And a lot of times in an SEC tournament, like for example, if you're Georgia, the SEC tournament means nothing. And I remember one year, the year that Mississippi State won the thing, we were at the tournament, and Florida run-ruled them. And their fans were there, all decked out, and they didn't use any of their top-line pitching. They pitched nobody, and their fans were freaking out. Well, why didn't they? Because they knew who they were and where they were going to be. They're going to be a top 8 national seed. So they didn't have to win those games. That's what you're going to see with Georgia, I think. If it goes to Hoyle here at the end. That's our first hour. In this hour, first I want to thank Blake Alderman for being here. Brian Mahoney's going to talk a little NBA with us, and then Nick Belmonte, speaking of baseball, we'll talk to him about what you just brought up. You're listening to Sports Scene on WRUF.
Every pitch of Gator baseball, all season long, right here on WRUF, your home for Gator Sports.
Want to get your brand noticed? At Radware, we help you stand out with custom corporate apparel, branded uniforms, and promotional swag that gets attention. From trade shows to team uniforms, we've got you covered. Radware even works with major names like the University of Florida. Boost your brand visibility today. Visit radware.com. That's radware.com and let your brand shine.
If there's anybody that knows what teamwork and great leadership is all about, it's the head ball coach himself, Steve Spurrier. Sure, it applies to football and the team at Campus USA Credit Union.
Yeah, I think we got excellent leadership with Jerry Benton and his staff there, and certainly I'm proud to team up with those guys as we go from year to year.
Campus USA Credit Union can help with all your financial decisions. Join the team. Learn more at campuscu.com. Member NCUA.
Summer in Gainesville means sunshine, barbecues, and storm season right around the corner. Don't wait until disaster strikes to think about your roof. Whether it's your home or your business, Atlantic Roofing has you covered. From inspections to full replacements, their expert team handles both residential and commercial roofing, built to stand up to Florida's toughest weather. Get ahead of the storm. Protect what matters most. Visit AtlanticRoofingFL.com today for your free estimate. Atlantic Roofing. Roofing you can trust, rain or shine.
Domino's carryout deal means you can carry out one-topping pizzas for $7.99 each when you order online or by phone. Just in case there's any confusion, we've even set up a helpful website to confirm if today is a day you can carry out one-topping pizzas for $7.99 each. Just go to howaboutoday.com to find out if Domino's carryout deal is valid today. Spoiler alert, it is. Carryout only. Ask for this offer. Availability and charges may vary. Size availability varies by crust type. Excludes XL and specialty. Your local store may charge extra for some toppings and sauces.
Hi, I'm Kerry Meldon. At Meldon Law, we prepare every case as if it's going to trial. And part of that preparation involves real people from our community giving honest feedback. Join one of our jury research focus groups. You'll review real case scenarios, share your perspective, and enjoy dinner and dessert on us. We'll thank you and provide you $125 for your time. It's engaging, meaningful, and your voice truly matters. Visit meldonlaw.com to sign up today.
Gator fans, this one's for you. Introducing Castaway Sauce Company, the hot sauce made by Gators for Gators. Their signature ball kicker hot sauce is inspired by Steve Spurrier's famous kick that beat Auburn in '66. If you love hot sauce with real flavor, not just heat and vinegar, Castaway delivers. Available at select public supermarkets, Castaway Sauce Company is founded by a lifelong Gator and proud UF alum. From mild to wild, they've got a flavor for every Gator tailgate. Grab your Castaway hot sauce today and taste the tradition. Learn more at CastawaySauceCompany.com.
This summer, bring every game home. Baseball, soccer, golf, like never before. With a stunning new home theater system from Electronics World. Gainesville's preferred choice for home theater, surveillance, and smart home solutions. Delivering the best products, the best service, and the best price. Don't just watch the game, live it. At Electronics World. Gainesville's preferred choice for home theater, home surveillance, and smart home installation and service. Visit electronicsworld.net for more. That's electronicsworld.net.
When you're ready to feel the wind in your hair or trade traffic for trailheads, then you're ready for real summer fun. And Radiant Credit Union is ready to get you there. ATVs, UTVs. If it kicks up dirt and makes your weekend better, Radiant has special loan rates right now with flexible terms and fast approvals. The only thing you'll be waiting on is your friends to catch up. Start your adventure today at radiantcu.org. Loans subject to credit approval. Radiant is federally insured by NCUA.
From the Spurrier's Gridiron Grill Studio, WRUF Gainesville, W251CG Gainesville, WRUF FM HD2, and on the WRUF radio app. This program is paid for by Weeby Marketing. The godfather of Gator Sports Talk Radio has returned.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
It's Sports Scene with Steve Russell. Time to eat some lunch and talk some Gator sports.
Sports Scene with Steve Russell is fueled by Southeast Car Agency and brought to you in part by Gator Trim Light, Campus USA Credit Union, Doreen Weeby Realtor, Fairlife Milk, Domino's Pizza, International Diamond Center, Meldon Law, Miapa Latin Cafe, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Quality Plumbing, Sensei Asian Bistro, Ruse Ogra State Farm, Titan MRI and Imaging, the UF Bookstore, Gala Bank, B&D Electric, and the Head Beer Coach 1966 Lager.
Now, here's Steve Russell, right here on WRUF.
Welcome into Hour 2 of Sports Scene on this Wednesday. Charlie is going to be the producer, and we thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be with us here. We come to you live from the Gator Trim Light studio. They've got you covered, folks. They do great work. They can do permanent holiday lighting when the time comes. But in the meantime, pool enclosures, businesses to decks and landscape lighting, they can even light your home orange and blue. They're good at what they do. Visit them at GatorTrimLight.com. Fueled by Southeast Car Agency. In business for nearly 50 years. 310 Northeast 39th Avenue in Gainesville. The best in late model, low mileage vehicles. Let's get right to our Titan MRI and Imaging phone line. Brian Mahoney is going to join us. He covers the NBA for the Associated Press, primarily Knicks and that neck of the woods. And Brian, you know I'm a Knicks fan, so I'm really happy here with what's happened so far. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you.
Oh, sure thing, Steve. They're giving you a good show. That's for certain.
Yeah. Let me ask this. You know, the Knicks have been a little bit up and down. Are they playing their best basketball now?
It definitely looks like it. You know, they had times during the season, like you said, they were certainly ups. They played very well.
Yeah.
You know, November and December, January was very much down, and then it kind of went that way through, you know, the next month or so. But right now, they really seem locked in. You know, I think they were annoyed by the way they played early in that Atlanta series, letting the game get away early. And, you know, they are focused, and they seem to have found a lot that's working.
How do you see this series with Philly?
Well, you know, there were sort of two schools of thought. One was Philadelphia was a kind of a difficult matchup for them because of how, you know, fast Tyrese Maxey is. He gave them a lot of trouble in the regular season. And two was, you know, look, the Knicks were going to have home court advantage once Boston lost. They're obviously the fresher team. Philadelphia had to go 7 in the first round. And what we saw based on game one was that second scenario. Philly looked at aghast. The Knicks looked like they are just the fresher, in much more better shape team. Of course, we have to see what happens after that.
When you look at, I want to ask you about the Orlando job because, here in Gainesville, Billy Donovan is revered as he should be, and many think he's a candidate there. I think Thibodeau would be a candidate there. Do you?
Seeing both those names, it's like if you get into one of those guys, it's a great thing. Obviously, no disrespect to Coach Mosley, who they had there, who I thought did a pretty good job overall, getting to the playoffs, whatever it was, 3 years in a row. But, seeing the success those guys have had, there's obviously some talent in place already. Obviously some fixes need to be made, certainly offensively. But those guys are proven winners in this league. And I obviously, Donovan, especially having the connections down there, as you say, would be a home run hire, either guy.
I want to get your thoughts on what the NBA is trying to do, Brian, with tanking. I don't envy what the commissioner has to do. There's been these proposals put forth here. Do you think they will work?
I honestly don't know, Steve. I'd put me in the category of just being frustrated it's gotten to this point.
Yeah.
One of the problems is that look, fans sometimes want tanking. Owners want tanking. Sometimes it is the proper solution. But we don't want multiple years of tanking. We're seeing teams who are tanking for 2-3 years in a row and starting to tank in December. And that's just this season was really, really tough. So I understand why Adam Silver, wants to do something radical. I just don't know if this is it. It's a little bit confusing. It causes some unintended consequences, like people said. Maybe you don't want to get into the play-in, So I don't really know. But I understand ultimately why they have to do something. We just can't keep having a third of the league throwing in the towel in December.
Brian Mahoney joining us here covering the NBA for the Associated Press. Boston gets bounced, and that doesn't happen, very often early in their storied history. But, Jaylen Brown's name's now being thrown out there as possibly being traded. Giannis at Milwaukee. What do you think may happen with big names like this? Could they be moved?
Well, the easy answer is anybody can be moved.
Sure.
But you certainly would say, okay, there's no way Boston would want to trade Jaylen Brown. I think he just had an amazing year. No one thought they were going to finish second in the East after what they lost, after how little they had Jason Tatum available this year. So you certainly don't want to give up a guy like that. Of course, the flip side is if you can use him in a deal to get Giannis, then you got to think about it. Giannis is still an amazing player in the NBA. I think still a top 5 guy, even at some of the injuries he had this year. So if that scenario pops open, then Boston's got to think long and hard about it for sure.
If I said to you today, with the remaining teams in the playoff, Brian, who's the team to beat, who would you say?
Well, I guess the easy answer is you can't be against Oklahoma City at this point in time. If Jalen Williams is really hurt long term, then maybe we think a little bit differently about that. But, for now, look, they're the best team. They have the experience they went through last year, getting through the championship. And, I can make cases for other teams, sure. But I just think why not pick the team who's proven they can do it and has the best record now.
All right, I'm going to end with this, and I'm going to ask for people who listen to me know I'm a Knicks fan. They know I follow a lot of New York teams because that's where I was born and raised in the state. The Knicks owner fires Tibbs and publicly says we better go to the finals. Well, if they don't go to the final, Brian, would the current coach be on the chopping block?
I would have said no way the guy last year was. He right?
Right. That's my point. Yeah.
After 25 years. So I would say I can't rule anything out. My thought on that is even look, Mike Brown has done everything they wanted him to have done up till now. He came in, he expanded the rotation. He got more people involved. He's not as hard driving a guy as Thibodeau is. He won 53 games. they've gotten better now at the right time, you would say there's no way Mike Brown loses his job, right? But let's see what happens now in the next week or 2 weeks or whatever. Now, if he gets out coached 4 games in a row and they, if they have home court in the Eastern Conference Finals again like last year and don't win the series, who knows? But I would think right now it would be tough to think he would lose his job based on what I think he was supposed to have done and what he's done up to now. Okay. Where can people see your work, Brian? apnews.com or our Associated Press app or on X, Brian C. Mahoney. Okay. Thanks for your time. I always appreciate you doing this. All right. Thank you, Steve. You got it, Brian. Brian Mahoney covering the NBA for the Associated Press. Thanks to Quality Plumbing for sponsoring the first hour. Domino's Pizza sponsoring hour number 2 of our show. Perfect for lunch, dinner, or those late-night cravings. Nobody delivers like Domino's. Fast, easy, a click away. That click is at www.gatordominoes.com. Remember, Gators softball tomorrow will be on later than normal because Gators softball will be on the air at 10:40 in the morning. They play the first game of the day tomorrow. They're going to play the winner of the game that's being played right now, Auburn and Texas A&M. Auburn was ahead 8-3. All of a sudden, it's an 8-6 game. A&M hits in the bottom half of the 6th with the tying run at the plate. So we'll see if Auburn can hold on here or if A&M will come back and win. Quickly, International Diamond Center email, Daryl, I think umpires and officials relatively do a good job. They're human, make mistakes. I knew a guy when Florida lost, blamed the refs or the umpires. I couldn't reason with him. Look, do they make mistakes? Yes, they do. They're graded, and if they don't grade out enough, guess what? They don't work. So there you are. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More to come. Want to hear from you and talk sports today as you're listening to Sports Scene on WRUF. Friends, if somebody's been in business for 45-plus years, doesn't that tell you something? Trust, longevity. Well, that is the case with my friends at Southeast Car Agency in Gainesville. The Cousins family has operated that business for the past 45-plus years, and they specialize in just one thing. They give you the best alternative you have to purchasing a new vehicle, the best in late-model, low-mileage vehicles. Great variety, great selection. I'm driving one now, have been for years. Go see them today, Southeast Car Agency, 310 Northeast 39th Avenue, Gainesville.
Everyone knows Gator Trim Light is the go-to for patented permanent holiday lighting. But did you know they do so much more? From pool enclosures and businesses to decks and landscape lighting, they've got you covered. Full color systems, fully programmable, right from your smartphone. Invisible by day, stunning by night. Show off your orange and blue home or landscape with GatorTrimLight.com. That's GatorTrimLight.com. GatorTrimLight.com.
Hi, I'm Kerry Meldon. At Meldon Law, we prepare every case as if it's going to trial. And part of that preparation involves real people from our community giving honest feedback. Join one of our jury research focus groups. You'll review real case scenarios, share your perspective, and enjoy dinner and dessert on us. We'll thank you and provide you $125 for your time. It's engaging, meaningful, and your voice truly matters. Visit meldonlaw.com to sign up today.
After you work out, you can feel worn out. Reach for core power and rise to a whole new level of recovery. Protein to build muscle. Electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to power on. Champion your recovery with Core Power.
Hey, have you ever talked to Ruse Agra over at State Farm?
Oh yeah, Ruse is awesome. Helped me get a ton of coverage for way less than I expected, and he serves all of North Florida. Super friendly too, actually takes time to explain everything.
Really? I thought State Farm would be pricey.
Nope, surprisingly great rates. You get that neighborly service you don't find everywhere. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I might give Ruse at State Farm a call.
You should. Call 352-240-1779 for a free quote. You'll be glad you did.
Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
If there's anybody that knows what teamwork and great leadership is all about, it's the head ball coach himself, Steve Spurrier. Sure, it applies to football and the team at Campus USA Credit Union.
Yeah, I think we got excellent leadership with Jerry Benton and his staff there, and certainly I'm proud to team up with those guys as we go from year to year.
Campus USA Credit Union can help with all your financial decisions. Join the team. Learn more at campuscu.com. Member NCUA.
When the late, great Charlie Daniels would need a place for jewelry he could trust, he turned to International Gold, Diamond, and Watch Exchange.
Hi, I'm Charlie Daniels, and I live in Tennessee, but when I get ready to do something serious about jewelry or a gift for my wife or somebody, I always get in touch with the folks at International Gold and Diamond Exchange here in Gainesville. There's a lot of reasons for that. One reason is they sell nothing but the best.
Find out what Charlie was talking about for yourself at International Gold, Diamond, and Watch Exchange at 3440 West University Avenue and online at igdwex.com.
Connecting with WRUF at Sports Scene just got easier. Call, email, watch on YouTube or Facebook Live. And now text us on the B&D Electric text line at 352-325-3777. That's 352-325-3777. Gator baseball fans, don't miss On Deck with Steve Russell and Jeff Cardoso live every Monday at 1 on WRUF. Get baseball and softball breakdowns, player analysis, and SEC previews. Listen live or anytime on the WRUF app, YouTube, or Facebook. On Deck, it's a hit.
Gator baseball plays here. WRUF 98.1 FM, 850 AM, and 103.7 HD2.
Nick Belmonte will join me at the bottom of the hour to talk Gator baseball, SEC baseball. And again, a reminder about tomorrow. It will be on earlier tomorrow. I'm sorry, softball on earlier tomorrow at 10:40. And then Sports Scene on after the conclusion of the softball game. International Diamond Center email, Peyton, in your opinion, is the Power 4 more of a Power 2? +2. SEC and Big Ten seem to be in the pinnacle, while the Big 12 and the ACC are struggling to keep up. I don't know if they're struggling to keep up, but clearly the Big Ten and the SEC are the Power 2, if you want to compare it that way. Let's see here. We got a text. This is great. Again, our text line, if you don't know it, 352-325-3777, brought to you by B&D Electric. Andrew, what SEC teams do you think a lot of the SEC fans look down on? Like they're not SEC caliber. Specifically football, I noticed some teams, people wouldn't put their stadium on their bucket list to go there. Boy, Andrew, there's a lot of ways to go with that. Look, it's hard for me because when you say Southeastern Conference and you take a plane ride to Oklahoma, I'm not great at geography, but that ain't in the Southeast. Neither is Texas. So, SEC caliber. Texas, the school probably that struggles the most is Missouri. Top of my head, okay? They're decent in football. Men's basketball, they're decent. Women's basketball, they're not. Baseball, they're not. Softball, they're not. Again, I don't know about track or anything like that, but that's probably the school, Andrew, that, and facility-wise, their baseball facility is awful, the worst in the league. So if you're going to go that route, I would say Missouri. Let's see, is this, again, another text. Graham Hall put out an article recapping CBS Sports' final NBA mock draft before the lottery on Sunday. Chinyelu was projected as a late first-round pick in that scenario, in one draft. Yes, there are many others. Do you think there's any realism to that thought? You'd have to imagine if he leaves, if that's the case. Yeah, there's realism to that. And I hope somebody would not hate on Ruben Chinyelu if he decided to go to the NBA. I mean, if he's going to be a first rounder, right? Gary, I got to tell you, I think ABS is the perfect innovation. still keeps the game human by allowing players to pick and choose their spots to challenge while also straightening out some strike zone issues. Gary, I like the way you said that. I do. Because as a human, as a hitter, you're looking and you can make that determination. By the way, in softball, A&M's come all the way back. They've tied Auburn. It's 8-8 as they move to the 7th inning. Reportedly, umpires have an earpiece that hooks up to the command center. They get notes to correct their zone in real time. That's a pretty interesting way to still keep things tight but human. Yeah, I'm really glad that the SEC is going to do what they're going to do at the SEC tournament. I think it's worked in baseball, in Major League Baseball. So I'm all for that. If you can get – the object is to get the call right. It's clunky sometimes in replays. You have to wait a long time, all of that. But if you're going to try, if the idea is to get the call right, you have to go through that. Let's go to our Titan MRI Imaging phone line. Top Jimmy, hello.
Hey, good afternoon, sir.
Hey.
Off the top of my head, well, let me say this. I'm watching the Auburn-Texas A&M softball game on mute, and A&M just tied it up, by the way.
I just mentioned that on the air. Okay.
You did? Okay, I missed that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Embiid is out tonight, correct?
He is, correct.
For the Sixers?
Yep.
So how are you feeling about your matchup for your Knicks? I don't know if it's going to be, a colossal blowout like they pulled off in Game 1, but
I mean, on paper, I think that certainly helps the Knicks, but you still got to play the game. I mean, look, what if you don't shoot well? What if you don't shoot well? Well, then, okay, that brings the team that's the underdog more into the game. So, I'm sure the Sixers would love to have Embiid. This should help the Knicks, but still got to play the game.
If Embiid stays impaired, even if he recovers and doesn't play in tonight's game, they got to travel a day or two, whatever it is. How do you foresee the remainder of the series playing out? As far as I think, without Embiid, the Sixers are dead in the water.
I don't think they're dead in the water, but I do think they would have to have contributions from people they don't get contributions from, and I think their stars would have to play out of their minds. But again, we're making the assumption, however, that the Knicks are going to be as they were in Game 1, and we don't know that either. Because again, if you have a poor shooting night, that evens the playing field a little bit.
Yeah, and what did the Knicks shoot? Their field goal percentage in Game 1 was 64%. Almost.
It was crazy.
I think it was.
Yeah, it was crazy, and they're not going to shoot that again.
It was.
They're not. The law of averages says you're not going to do that.
Doesn't happen. Yeah, exactly. On back-to-back nights, or let alone very often in the NBA playoffs. As far as the conversation regarding expansion of the NCAA football playoff, I think I talked with you about this a few months ago. I think they should have already decided to go to 24 because it was already at 12, and 4 teams got a bye. If you add 12 more teams, then you give 4 more teams. You give 8 teams a bye. And I don't think it adds any time to the schedule of the postseason. And they keep a top 25 ranking of college football teams all year long. Sorry, number 25, you just didn't play well enough to get in. So the other 24 get in. Is that feasible, or am I overthinking it?
With all due respect, Top Jimmy, I have no idea where you're going with that. Where are you going? Like, what do you mean?
Well, there's a top 25 ranking all season long, correct? So why doesn't the top 24 get in the playoff?
Because they don't go by the poll. They don't go by ranking. A committee does that. You know that.
Yeah, but if they're going to consider doing,
there will be automatic qualifiers in this. Okay, but you're not going to have it just the top 20, the AP top 25. They go in. No, that's not how it works.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
Always
thank
pleasure.
you. Yep. Mike, I got to have you call back after I get Nick Belmonte on here. He'll be joining us next to talk some baseball. As you listen to Sports Scene, brought to you this hour by our friends at Domino's Pizza. You're listening. And by the way, all of our guests, I want to give Meldon Law a shout out. All of our guests, courtesy of Meldon Law, won't back down. You're listening to WRUF.
Gator baseball is in full swing, and the road to Omaha runs through WRUF.
It's never fun being injured. And with summer on the way, the last thing you want is lingering pain holding you back. Good news. You don't have to deal with long waits or high costs at Titan MRI and Imaging. At Titan MRI and Imaging, you're not just another patient. You're treated with care in a comfortable, personal setting. With 2 locations in Gainesville and 1 in Lake City. Being pain-free is a short drive away. And they accept insurance. So don't sit out this summer. Get the scan you need and get back to enjoying it. Visit TitanMRI.com to learn more.
The commitment from IDC to first responders is really extraordinary.
Veteran firefighter Johnny Hinton talks about International Diamond Center's ongoing support for our heroes in uniform.
IDC has helped us raise just massive amounts of money.
Johnny says in addition to corporate gifts to support charity fundraisers, IDC is there every day, helping first responders with an extra 15% discount on any purchase.
Again, thank you guys so much.
International Diamond Center at Celebration Point.
Every great team is built on a solid game plan, sharp execution, and total trust in the crew beside you. At Quality Plumbing, we bring that same championship mindset to every job we do. For over 40 years, we've been the starting lineup for homes and businesses across North Central Florida, delivering reliable service, expert craftsmanship, and big wins for our customers. Call us today or visit qualityplumbing.com. We're your first string team. License number CFC 043073.
By now, you've heard about the Florida Legends Experience in Gila, featuring Gator Heisman greats Tim Tebow, Danny Werfel, and Steve Spurrier all in one place at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Imagine catching a pass or taking a handoff from a Heisman winner, all while supporting Isaiah 117 to help provide safe, loving homes for children in need. Then enjoy an unforgettable evening at the Gala, filled with great food and lasting memories. Don't miss this historic event. Find out how you and your business can get involved at FLLegends.com. That's FLLegends.com.
Summer in Gainesville means sunshine, barbecues, and storm season right around the corner. Don't wait until disaster strikes to think about your roof. Whether it's your home or your business, Atlantic Roofing has you covered. From inspections to full replacements, their expert team handles both residential and commercial roofing, built to stand up to Florida's toughest weather. Get ahead of the storm. Protect what matters most. Visit AtlanticRoofingFL.com today for your free estimate. Atlantic Roofing. Roofing you can trust, rain or shine. Hey, Gator baseball fans, here's a win you can taste. When the Florida Gators take home a victory at Condren Family Ballpark, you win too at Miapa Latin Cafe. The day after every home win, swing by and score a free Cuban coffee, hot or iced, your choice. Just bring your game ticket to any Miapa location and claim your reward within 24 hours of the win. It's that simple. Gators win, you win. Only at Miapa Latin Cafe, serving Gator fans for over 20 years. Play ball!
The best conversations happen with Los Linderos tequila, like this recent conversation between 2 Gator legends.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 national championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. 100% agave, Los Linderos tequila. Aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
In the heart of Gator Country, some things are built to last. Traditions, family, and real wood furniture. At Would You Furniture, we believe furniture should be more than something you replace every few years. It should be something you pass down, built to last generations. Choose beautifully finished pieces or ready-to-finish furniture you can make your own. Would You Furniture. Real wood, real quality, right here in our community. Come visit our new showroom on Main Street, just north of our previous location, or online at wouldyougainesville.com.
You're listening to Sports Scene with Steve Russell, right here on WRUF, 98.1 FM, 850 AM, and 103.7 HD2.
I said, ooh, come on, baby, turn the lights off. Ooh, 'cause it's getting late.
Welcome back to Sports Scene. Let's go to our Titan MRI Imaging phone line. A guy I've known for a lot of years. Schooled together. He played baseball here. You see him on the television broadcast for Gator Baseball. Nick Belmonte joins us. Before we even get started, thank you for the gift, sir. That was very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice commemoration as well. So that was cool. All right. Nick, obviously we're getting down near the end of the year here, and is Florida going to be a regional host? Are they going to qualify for that? Where do you go from here? So let's start with Florida. What do you see here, and what do you see down the stretch?
Well, it's funny with this league and the fact that this club could one day make you think they could win it all, and they could beat anybody in the nation, which they can. Aiden King and the offense swinging somewhat could beat anybody in the nation. It's going to be consistency going down the road. Obviously, the defense has to be there in the postseason. That's always something that sometimes gets overlooked, but it's got to be there. Jackson Barbieri, coming back, that's going to be a key thing. There was a hint he may have pitched last night, but we'll probably see him this weekend. If he comes back and Sanford does his thing, this team, sky's the limit, right? If then we see them, lose close games, you're like, oh man, what's wrong with this team and whatnot. But they're the kind of team that will give you hope that they can win the whole thing based on certain games they play. So if you're a Gator fan, you got to hold on to that hope, because they have proven that they could beat the best in the country, and they've done it on the road. 15 quad wins that leads the nation. I think that gets overlooked a lot of times. Okay, you lost to Bethune and Jacksonville, but you got 15 quad wins, and most of those were on the road. So this team is capable of winning the College World Series. And, with a bad game or two, they can go 2-0 in a regional. You just never know. But the fact that they're capable of winning it all has got to give you some hope.
It does. A very pesky team comes to town this weekend in Kentucky. They're searching for league wins to qualify to get them in a regional. If a fan doesn't know about them, Nick, they like to run. They're pesky. Tell us about Kentucky.
Well, 109 stolen bases out of 123, attempts. A team after my own heart there. That's really good. In the SEC, they're 42 out of 55. They're just 5% lower at 78% at that rate. They're in the conference. They hit 267, not bad. Gators are 245 hitting in the conference. They're about equals, around 6 runs a game in the conference. But what's interesting to them, they're pitching. Ben Cleaver, who's I guess going to pitch Friday, has been their ace, has not had a good year. And then last week against Tennessee, he throws a gem, right? And then Jackson Jelkin goes 8-inning complete game in a 10-run rule on Saturday. That's something that the Gators are better than Kentucky for sure, and that's pitching. Gators ERA in the conference 4.35, while Kentucky is sitting in the conference at 6.23. That's conference games only, I'm giving you. So this is the kind of team, if you're going to play them, you don't want to play them close, because the fact that you mentioned they bunt a lot, they steal bases, and if you're not playing good defense in a close game, these are the kind of things that'll come up and bite you. You want to get an early lead with these guys and make them try to play catch up, where the stolen base is more of a risk. And Nick Mingione, who loves to run, he's going to have to second guess whether we're going to bunt. He's going to say, or whether he's going to, steal a base. Those are the kind of things. So getting a good lead early is going to be the key for the Gators. And look, Aiden King, best pitcher in the nation, arguably right now.
You look at the SEC. Florida. To your point, Florida goes to Georgia, leading the SEC. Takes 2 out of 3 there. as you look down the race here, I want to ask about LSU. I think it's fascinating. They got to go to Athens this weekend. And, you would think it's going to be tough for them. So, Nick, if they don't win 2, getting to 13 is going to be next to impossible. And then Florida ends in Baton Rouge. Wouldn't you at that point, if you're LSU, say, I got to get my pitching right. The only chance I got is to win the SEC tournament. Am I wrong in that thinking?
No, I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll stay the course. And here's why. If you're ever going to have an opportunity for a 12-win team to go in on the SEC this year, it might be this year. And here's why. If let's just say if LSU goes 3-3, they're playing Georgia, they're playing Florida. Their RPI, they're at 55 now. They're going to go up, I'm going to think, in the 30s if they go 3-3. So I think they're going to have an argument there, and they're also going to have an argument if they win a game or two in the tournament they're in with only 12 wins. But they've got to win as many games as they can. I can't see, them saying, okay, here's a white flag. We're going to throw some guy on like Smoke LaValle used to do back in the day, the SEC tournament, where it'd be opening night in the tournament. They won the league championship, and Smoke goes, hey, Nick, you're going to like my pitcher tonight. And I go, yeah, who? Oh, yeah. He goes, no, this guy. I go, Smoke, he's only thrown 2 innings this year. And he goes, yeah, I know. Because they just want to get back to LSU and get ready to host a regional. And that, back in those days, that was a smart thing to do, right? But I think LSU, I don't think they're going to mail it in. I really don't if they have a bad weekend. I think they're going to stay the course, and that's just my opinion. We'll see what happens. But, that Gator baseball team, I can mention 2 guys that have kind of stepped up. Obviously, Caden McDonald is a great story that's been talked about. But Yost was 3 inches away from hitting his 3rd home run in 2 games last night. I mean, he crushed that ball that guy brought back in. And the kid Stripling, I'll tell you, this guy gives you a good game, seems like, every time he gets a start. So those are two guys in the Gator lineup that really have picked it up and have helped the offense recently.
Yeah, and they got to pick it up offensively. I don't think there's any question about that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about Ted Turner, so talk about Ted Turner.
Yeah, well, Ted Turner for a lot of reasons. Ted Turner had a lot to do with regional baseball coverage, the Superstation, the Atlanta Braves. It was his idea to get the Braves on TV nationally, so he was a trendsetter there. Also, Ted Turner, I don't know if you remember this, is 49 years ago next week, he managed the club for 1 game.
Yes.
So Ted Turner actually is a manager of the Atlanta Braves. He goes down in history. He was 0 for 1. They were in a 16-game losing streak. He told Dave Bristol, hey, I'm going to give you 2 weeks off, and I'm going to manage the team. Of course, after 1 game, Chubb Feeney and Bowie Kuhn said, no, you can't do
Ain't
that.
happening.
But he did. He did manage 1 game, and then we had a teacher. I don't know if you remember Dan Hackle when we were in broadcast school at the University of Florida. Well, Dan Hackle was one of our professors, and then a year or 2 after we left, he joined. It was one of the first anchors in CNN, which I always thought was cool to have. And that's a Ted Turner, obviously founded CNN. So there's some ties there. So, Ted Turner, definitely a trendsetter, and to say what you want about him, he was one of like 4 manager owners in the history of baseball. I think Clark Griffin, John McGraw, obviously Connie Mack, or some others.
I got an email for you, Nick, and I got to get to it because they had a question for you. Here we go. Can you ask your guest, is there any chance North Carolina can surpass UCLA for a NCAA tournament 1 seed?
Of course. Oh yeah. I mean, the next few weeks are critical for both, and of course it is. I think everything's so fluid right now. It obviously sounds like someone at the Tar Heel that asked that question, but yeah, I definitely think they can. There's no doubt about it. And we were talking the other day. I don't know where we're going with mid-majors. I know Murray State was a great story last year, but down the road, 4 or 5 years down the road, I'm going to say you may have a Division II, Division I, and a Division 1A, and they all going to have their separate World Series because it's getting so hard for those mid majors to actually compete with the big boys. And, you just never know. If NIL stays the same, the transfer portal stays the same, that you may see that down the road.
Real quick, do you like what the SEC is going to do with the strike zone challenge?
I mean, I do. I don't know if it moves the needle that much, but, I know the hitting coaches like it. I was talking to Slates. He liked it. I don't know anybody involved in coaching that doesn't like it. And the reason is that, you make sure that the call's right and, in a critical part of the game, that obviously that's what you want. So, yeah, I think it's fine. I'm a purist. I think the more you get away from the human element in the game of baseball, it just really changes the sport. I don't want us down the road to turn into banana ball. It's just, you made a funny thing about robot batters down the road. You never know, right?
That's right.
So I just like to hold on to the memories of what baseball used to be growing up, and the human element, umpires. As a player and a manager, I always got along with umpires. They're human; they make mistakes, but it all evened out in the wash. It seemed like, and we all lived and were better for it. So yeah, I think it's all right.
All right. Good to have you, man. And we'll see you down the road here. Appreciate your time, buddy.
We'll see you Friday.
That's right.
All right.
All right, Nick. Thank you. Nick Belmonte joining us here. Known that guy a long time, and he knows the game. By the way, this Auburn A&M game is something else. A&M tied it, and then Auburn has gone ahead. They lead 11-8, but Texas A&M has 2 outs and a runner at first base. So it's going right down to the wire. And, of course, Florida plays the winner of this game tomorrow. We'll take a final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap the show up today. You're listening to Sports Scene, coming to you live from the Gator Trim Light Studio, fueled by Southeast Car Agency on WRUF.
Sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference between a minor sprain and a significant issue. The team at UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine provide expert orthopedic care with locations in Gainesville and Ocala for everything from walk-in treatments to specialized surgeries and complex cases. Choose the providers who care for Team USA. Visit ufhealth.org/orthoexperts to learn more. Proud provider for the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Medical Network.
Attention local and regional CDLA drivers in the North Florida area. Pritchett Trucking is currently looking for local and regional drivers. Are you looking for a driver-friendly environment? Pritchett Trucking offers more home time, great pay, and great benefits, including health insurance and paid time off. And they also offer a quarterly performance and safety program, plus a sign-on bonus. Pritchett Trucking's regional drivers are home weekends and local drivers are home daily. If you're at least 23 years old and want a rewarding career with great pay, don't let the opportunity pass you by. Apply online at PritchettTrucking.com.
Are you ready to raise your game when it comes to your Gators gear? Head over to Alma Mater in Gainesville. You'll find just what you need to rep your team in style. From one-of-a-kind Gator tees and hats to NIL gear, they've got the perfect Gator swag for every fan in all kinds of weather. Whether it's game day or any day, you'll be winning with officially licensed apparel found nowhere else. Locally owned, locally produced. Alma Mater, in-store at the corner of 34th and University or online at almamaterdesign.com.
Domino's carryout deal means you can carry out one-topping pizzas for $7.99 each when you order online or by phone. Just in case there's any confusion, we've even set up a helpful website to confirm if today is a day you can carry out one-topping pizzas for $7.99 each. Just go to howaboutoday.com to find out if Domino's carryout deal is valid today. Spoiler alert, it is. Carryout only. Ask for this offer. Availability and charges may vary. Size availability varies by crust type. Excludes XL and specialty. Your local store may charge extra for some toppings and sauces.
We all know the most exciting thing that can happen during a baseball game is a grand slam. Leave it to Davis Gainesville Chevrolet GMC and the Florida Gators to make it even more exciting. This year, at any SEC home game here in Gainesville, if the baseball or softball team hits a grand slam in the 4th inning, someone will win a 2-year lease on a brand new 2026 Chevy Trax. It's happened before. Will you be the next to win? Davis Gainesville Chevrolet and the Florida Gators. Now that's a hit.
This summer, bring every game home. Baseball, soccer, golf, like never before. With a stunning new home theater system from Electronics World. Gainesville's preferred choice for home theater, surveillance, and smart home solutions. Delivering the best products, the best service, and the best price. Don't just watch the game, live it. At Electronics World. Gainesville's preferred choice for home theater, home surveillance, and smart home installation and service. Visit electronicsworld.net for more. That's electronicsworld.net.
In a world of big banks, there's only one truly local choice in Gainesville, Gala Bank. Locally owned and operated, Gala Bank is built by people who live here, work here, and care about this community. With over 350 years of combined banking experience, you'll always get trusted guidance and personal service you can count on. And with convenient 7 to 7 hours, Monday through Saturday, banking works around your schedule, not the other way around. Local bank, local people. Gala Bank. Member FDIC.
Foodies, this is not a drill. Sensei Asian Bistro is now open in Celebration Point, right next to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and it's bringing bold Japanese French fusion flavors you won't find anywhere else. We're talking smoked New York strip, rich matcha curry, melt-in-your-mouth Chilean sea bass, and the fan-favorite Chunggang chili chicken. Feeling adventurous? Dive into fresh crudo oysters or treat yourself to A5 Wagyu tataki. Add in handcrafted cocktails, and you've got your next night out covered. Sensei Asian Bistro. Come hungry, leave impressed.
Overheard at the Hard Rock Bet Party.
I just got another NBA offer from Hard Rock Bet.
A Hard Rock Bet promo at the Hard Rock Bet Party? That is so meta.
That's not meta. That's Meta World Peace. Meta. Tell them about Hard Rock Bet.
Hard Rock Bet has it all. Live odds for every NBA game, every player prop, same game parlays, you name it. It's the only place I play these days.
Okay, now that is meta.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
From the UF Weather Center, here is your WRUF weather update.
Near record highs possible today. Temperatures in the lower to mid-90s. Heat index values in the mid-90s. A mix of sun and clouds. Light breeze from the west, occasionally gusting to 15 miles an hour. Partly cloudy and warm for us tonight. Low temperatures tomorrow morning in the mid to upper 60s. We repeat the pattern in the afternoon tomorrow again with high temperatures in the lower 90s. From the WUFT Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Megan Borowski.
WRUF, where Gator Nation comes alive. 98.1 FM, 850 AM, and 103.7 HD2.
Thanks to Domino's Pizza for sponsoring this hour of the show. And don't forget, Gala Bank, Gainesville's only local bank. Over 350 years of combined experience, here to help neighbors, not just customers. No call centers, no appointments necessary, no sign-in sheets. Anybody can cash a check. It doesn't matter, and there's no extra charge. They're at 7515 West University Avenue off Tower Road. Member FDIC. BB, in this early prediction, who would you expect to be the top 3 rated SEC football teams going into the fall week 1? Where would you expect our Gators to be ranked? I'm going to say that for tomorrow because that's going to take a while to delve into. So I will save it for tomorrow. Facebook Live question from Don. What team or player surpassed you in the NBA playoffs this year? Pretty shocked how easily the Nuggets croaked and felt like it was Jokic that was inefficient. Surprised me in the playoffs. I don't know that anybody, maybe Minnesota a little bit, because you don't see them a lot, right? They're not on national television a lot. And here they are. Jax Gator on Facebook. And once again, I want to thank our Facebook sponsors and our YouTube sponsors, Roos Oak State Farm for Facebook, Campus USA Credit Union for YouTube. Your thoughts about the Jags draft class. One word. Meh. Meh. No, removed from it, it seems like no analyst likes their class or the value of the selections they made. Second round tight end they drafted supposedly could have been there in the 4th. That's what the draftniks say, and I get it. To me, it's about production. If that player, whoever it is, produces, I don't care where he should have been drafted. The bottom line is, does he produce or not? But I was not overwhelmed with the Jags draft. Eddie on Facebook, hope Aiden King wins SEC Pitcher of the Year. Have you seen Texas's ace? He has a 1.87 ERA, 92-19 strikeout to walk ratio, bonker stuff. Yeah, he's really good. And it's down to those two, I think. Scott on YouTube, one of your show's ads says a grand slam is the most exciting play in baseball. I disagree. My vote, a triple play, because they're so rare, difficult to pull off. Either that or an outfielder throwing out a runner at home plate without a relay throw. Yeah, I guess, Scott, let's put the word exciting in quotes. You can have an unexciting triple play, right? You can have a line drive, step on third, throw to second. Is that exciting? No, but yeah, I get it. Mike, on the official's call, I think it might be related to the ump calling more close strikes because a pitcher is accurate, consistently gets more strikes called. If a football team is more consistent with less penalties, maybe they get the borderline benefit. Boy, Mike, I hear your thought process there, but I think over the course of a game, an umpire is going to see what a pitcher does. I'm not sure you can do that in football. You see what I'm saying? Now, do officials know that Team X is the most penalized team in the SEC? Maybe, but that should not affect how you call a game. You call the game based on, what that situation is. Many thanks today to our guest, Brian Mahoney, covering the NBA for the Associated Press. Nick Belmonte talking Gator baseball, SEC baseball. Blake Alderman with Gator football recruiting. Don't forget, tomorrow, Sports Scene on later in the day, we're going to have Gator softball at 10:40. They'll play Auburn, and we'll come on after Gator softball. And before we go, I want to say a big thank you to Sensei Asian Bistro for being one of the sponsors of Sports Scene. Gainesville's best-kept secret finally being revealed. Sensei Asian Bistro, the premier date night destination for food lovers. It's in Celebration Point, where elevated dining meets unforgettable nights. You can make a reservation and get some really good food. Kevin and the Sports Lab gang are up next. We thank you for taking in Sports Scene today. And Charlie, good job producing as always. We will see you tomorrow at a time to be determined after Florida takes on Auburn in softball. Till then, enjoy the rest of your day. You're listening to WRUF. See you later.
You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. No, I'll stand my ground. Won't be turned around. And I'll keep this world from dragging me down. Gonna stand my ground. And I won't back down.
Your home for the Tampa Bay Rays is WRUF.
Gator Nation, did you know the UF bookstore, located right inside the University of Florida's Rights Union, is more than just textbooks?